Now, I know what you're thinking. You weren't thinking that? Okay, fair enough. Now, I was going to mention that I'm wearing a black hoodie again, and it's just because I haven't really got a sense of style. If the clothes fit, the clothes fit. That's it. Simple as. Anyway, should we get on with the video? How are we doing, everybody? It's your Mosasaur Prince Steel Tethyosaurus Yorkshire, and I'm back again with Prognathodontini Part 2. Well, we made it through Part 1. Part 2 should get a bit messier. Possibly. Let's see what happens. So we're going to start off with the big boy himself, Prognathodontini, who's ironically a small boy because I think the specimen we currently have, the largest is 6 meters, which is small for Prognathodon. Kind of Prognathodon, but anyways, I'm dawdling. But Prognathodontini from the lower Maastrichtian to potentially the upper Maastrichtian of Belgium, Denmark, Albania, Spain, North Carolina potentially, and also Morocco potentially. I've seen some photos. No, not those kind of photos. Stop. Okay. But anyways, so with Prognathodon, again, we're going to keep some of the aspects from the Prognathodons from the previous video, and for Prognathodontini, because it seems to be what I'm going to term transatlantic, I've gone for transatlantic orca lizard. Well, why? Well, because it still works. It still really does work for orca lizard. Does work for the Prognathodontini, or most of them, but we are going to mix it up a bit with later ones. But anyways, we'll get on with the next species. Okay? Yeah. So this one recently really did surprise me, but this is Prognathodon Waiparensis. I do apologise for the butchery of that, but it's from the Maastrichtian of New Zealand. It's got a known size, we don't really know. But yeah, recently this guy got a redescription, and most likely a Prognathodon, a true Prognathodon. How about that? There's more than one! There's two! But anyways, I'm getting overexcited about this. But yeah, for this guy, see, this is the funny thing. With there being a Prognathodon in the north and Prognathodon in the south, I was going to go with the southern orca lizard, but I thought, just in case we get another redescription of another species of Prognathodon-ish, maybe, it turns out to be a true Prognathodon, and I'm going to keep that name reserved for something else. But anyways, for this guy, I've gone for New Zealand orca lizard, because that sounds really, really cool. Yeah, imagine this thing living in the waters, off the waters of the Tolkien world, you know, Lord of the Rings. Imagine this thing living in the water. Sauron would be scared to enter the water. Maybe, I don't know. Well, he's kind of a flame into it. He'd go out before this Mosasaur would get hold of him. Anyways, I'm dawdling again. Let's get on with it. Okay, so we've entered the trepid waters, if you like, the trepid waters. So we've got Prognathodon giganteus, potentially a specimen of Prognathodontini. More. Well, so whether this is a Prognathodontini or Prognathodon giganteus, I'm not entirely sure. I personally, at the moment, I don't think it's a Prognathodon. I don't even think it's a Thalassotitan. I think this thing could be its own genus, in which case I'm going to give it an informal alternative name of Dolotitan giganteus. So this guy was from the Lower Maastrichtian, found in the same rocks as Prognathodontini. Seems to be exclusively found in Belgium. Pretty large animal, around about 9 to 10 meters. So Thalassotitan size, so it's a big lad, huge lad, big lad, Dolotitan. Anyway, so because I'm using this alternative name, I've gone for Dolo's giant orca dragon, because anything exceeding the size of large specimens of Prognathodontini, I'm going to go with dragon as the end common name. Basically, it's to emphasise this thing is massive. Whoa, he's a big lad. He's a big Prognathodontini, as we will see with more. But yeah, Dolotitan. If anybody likes that, fair enough. If it gets published, that'd be really good, and therefore I would have predicted the future. And I have fixed Prognathodon. Bow to me. Ugh. Another Prognathodon. So Prognathodon sectoricus from the Maastrichtian of New Jersey, Netherlands, and possibly the Iberian Peninsula. Relatively good-sized Prognathodon-ish. So this guy, I've not come up with an alternative name because the jury's still out really on what he is. But 8 meters in length, that's pretty nice size. So for this one, I'm really conflicted with this one. Really conflicted. But then I thought, well, New Jersey, Netherlands, and Iberian Peninsula, what do they have in common? Well, they have brown bears. And I thought maybe the grizzly orca lizard would be good for this one, particularly with there being a specimen that shows interspecific combat, where one individual has bit the other individual's nose and giving it a really bad case of ouch. Ah, that's a good one. Ouch. You know, ouch on the nose. You know, a chunk of the nose taken out, and you're gonna go oof, ooh, ooh, that stings. Ooh, ooh. A bit of Calpol will probably fix that, maybe. I don't know. Did they have Calpol back then? Anyways, so Prognathodon sectoricus, the grizzly orca lizard. What a name. And more strikes again with Prognathodon saturata, or possibly Thalassotitan saturata. But I'm not sure about this guy. So he's from the Upper Maastrichtian of the Netherlands. Had a beer named after him. Hey, I'll drink to that. I ain't got a drink on me, but anyways. So 9 to 10 meters in length, big lad, huge lad, big boy. Well, so if he's potentially not a Thalassotitan, or potentially not a Prognathodon, which I'm pretty sure is not a Prognathodon, but it's a Thalassotitan, I'm not too sure about that. So I've come up with an alternative name, and I've been a bit creative with this one, as you can see. So I've called it Tethititan saturata. I know. Just think of him as a big Tethysaurus that's gone to the gym. He started lifting weights. You know, he's doing a deadlift like Eddie Hall did, and instead of changing eye colour, he's changing the entire evolutionary perspective into a giant, monstrous Prognathodontine. Yeah, big lad. But Tethititan saturata, or Prognathodon saturata, or Thalassotitan saturata. Who knows? So for this fella, I've gone for European giant orca dragon. Now, I've gone for swapping the giant and the European because there's going to be sort of a grouping of these guys, so they're going to be colloquially named as the giant orca dragons. So we've got the European one, and we're going to have other giant orca dragons. Get what I mean? Yeah. Let's get into those guys because I've got some more interesting names for them. So, Prognathodon curii or Thalassotitan curii, I'm pretty confident with this one being Thalassotitan curii. So he's from the Upper Maastrichtian of the phosphates across Israel and Morocco. Wouldn't be surprised if he showed up everywhere else. Probably the largest Prognathodontini we know of, up to 11 meters in this animal. Massively built skull. Honestly, fantastic animal. But really unique teeth. He's got those sort of those straight cone teeth, you know, really cool stuff, really cool. So for this one, pretty easy actually. I've gone for the cone-toothed giant orca dragon because, I mean, it just, that description of the teeth distinguishes him from other Thalassotitans. Really easy, really big lad, huge lad. He got a big head, he got a massive head, yeah. I'm getting too excited about this stuff because he's from Prognathodontini and they're a nightmare. So, we've made it. We got there in the end. So, Thalassotitan Aatrox, definitive, brilliant name. Lovely jubbly. So, Thalassotitan Aatrox from the uppermost Maastrichtian of a lot of places, really. Not just Morocco, a lot of places. Depending on whether they're actually T. Aatrox, who really knows, but for now we'll say he's global dominator because I said that in a previous video, you know. I don't want to ruin my own reputation, it's as bad as it is now. But anyways, this fella, 9 to 10 meters in length, massively sized Prognathodontini. So I've taken a bit of Prognathodon solvii with this, because this guy seems to be found everywhere, potentially, maybe. Oh, goodness me, imagine if it was Thalassotitan taxonomy mess, rather than Prognathodon. Never mind. So I've gone for Transatlantic Giant Orca Dragon. That's a good name, that, isn't it? I love these names so far. But we've made it. We've gone through Prognathodontini. So now let's get into the final stretch, and that's going to be for the next 2 videos, I think. I can't remember. I've written in my notes somewhere. But anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you like these names. Hope you're having a good day. I'll see you later. Ta-da. Bye.